Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. Today we have a very special topic and with a very special guest, our truthful and always uh, very communicative and gives a lot of information, Lamont Johnson, which is our very best financial coach and one of the best financial coaches in New York. And today we choose a very special topic, which is type of life insurance, right, Lamont? Learn how to protect your family. If today is the day you will learn, do I really need insurance? Is it affordable for me? What happens if I don't have it? All that questions, Lamont has an answer for you, right, Lamont? How are you today, Lamont?
Yes. Welcome. Thank you, Everett. I appreciate you having me here. Like you said, this is a great topic because a lot of people have a lot of questions behind life insurance. So hopefully we're able to provide some insight today, and I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, today we hope we have a lot of questions and people get help from you, and the knowledge that you're sharing with us will be helpful for others. So, life insurance and its basics. Let's start, Lamont.
Well, before we get into it, I just want to tell everybody, like, life insurance is super important. And there's a segment of the population that understands this, and everybody who doesn't understand this usually suffers. And this is why. When you think about your life right now, imagine where you would be financially if the generation before you left you $1 million. How would that impact your life today? Will you still have the same challenges, right? Will you still have the pressure on you to perform, the same worries? Maybe not, but to have $1 million will give you more time to be creative, do things in life you want to do, live the life you want to live. So a lot of people don't understand how powerful and important it is to have life insurance so that you won't be a bill to the people that you leave behind. You'll actually be of value. So I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about some basics behind it. But I just want you to understand that imagine if we could just leave the earth better financially, generation to generation. How our kids' lives will look and things of that nature. At the end of the day, everybody's on their way to make money. Everybody's trying their hardest to provide for their families. But if for some reason we don't make it to the end of the race, there's a bucket of money that keeps our last name getting stronger. And that's really what life insurance is about. And I want to just take away some of the confusion behind it, by going over some of the basics. So
what do you think are some of the cliches that life insurance has behind it?
Well, some people are like, look, I don't care what happens after me. And, that's something internal that has to be addressed. But other people are like, I don't even understand where to start, right? I don't understand how to get it. Other people say I have some through my job. And, while that's good that you have something, but a lot of times your employer may not let you take life insurance with you if you separate from your job, right? And everybody, if you see social media today, at least once a day, somebody is asking for help to put a family member to rest the right way. And all that goes to show is that there's a lack of planning and understanding around life insurance. Studies show that people are just confused about the whole concept. And what I want to share with you today is not only what you can use it for, but also how it has evolved over time. Yes, there was a time in this country where life insurance, was a little bit complicated and it might not always been the best program for people. But because of that, the industry has grown. Yeah. And I'm here to share with you some of the new innovations when it comes to life insurance that I think you and your family might want to consider moving forward.
Perfect. So basically, before we start, everybody needs insurance, life insurance.
100%. I totally agree with that because ultimately, think about it. In this country, everything costs money. In the world, everything costs money. The average funeral, could run you a few $1,000s, anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000, and that might be the most basic, fundamental send-off for a person. But who wants to take $15,000 out of their bank account for one day? And then all of the other things that come when a person passes that many people aren't aware of. There's something called probate. where your assets are taken by the government, and the first people that get access to what you leave behind is your creditors. So let's say you have a lot of debt and you want to leave some money behind to your children.
You can't.
They may or may not have money left behind based on how much debt you have.
Yeah.
Right? But a strong life insurance policy could cover that debt and still leave your children, and your loved ones with some money to operate. And that's really what it's about. It's about replacing your income at the end of the day. Who's going to be responsible for that?
Yeah. So let's start, Lamont, with the presentation.
Yes. So if you go to the first slide, like really, what is life insurance, right? What can it be used for? And no matter what type of life insurance it is, it usually falls into two categories, and that's either temporary or permanent, right?
Yeah.
Temporary life insurance typically is a contract with a set amount of years that gives you life insurance coverage. So if you pass away during that time, during that temporary contract, your family will receive the death benefit. Okay. Now, on the other side, if you live a day after, then the family receives nothing. So you want to make sure that you're using temporary insurance strategically. So what can you use it for, right? Obviously, replacing your income at the time of death. But some of the more modern versions of temporary life insurance also allow you to take money from it if, God forbid, your health decline. Okay, so if you got a critical, chronic, or terminal illness, the modern versions of temporary life insurance let you cut a check from it to take care of your medical expenses, to not be a burden on your family. If you can't work, you can still sustain financially with the modern version of temporary insurance. So those of you with a temporary life insurance program out there, you may want to look into if it's the more modern version or if it's the old-fashioned version that only pays out if you pass away. Okay, and that's something that we help with.
So the modern version allows you to cover chronic illness, like, and the old version is just for death.
Correct. If your health declines, the modern version allows you to pull money from the program. The older versions don't allow that. So this is like every industry, right? Every business industry. They put programs and products out to the public. The public says this is not good enough, and the industry comes out with something else that fits the need. Life insurance industry did the same thing. It came out with an original form of temporary insurance, but people were like, man, we're losing money on this deal if we live too long.
Yeah.
Right? If you outlive the contract, then the insurance company won and you lost. So the insurance company said, how can we do better? And what they do now is, in the modern versions, if your health decline, you can cut your family a check, which is a big deal. I've seen people, take out 5-6 figures from a program, and they allowed them to heal, right? Think about how many people are out there, they get hurt on the job, right? Or they get sick, and they got to go back to making money because there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
Right? So think about what a check could do for you during that situation. And it's a big deal, so temporary insurance, the new models of temporary life insurance allow these types of access to money, which is a big deal.
If I have a permanent life insurance, should I move to a term life insurance if I have a chronic illness or something like that?
Well, the great thing is that permanent life insurance also allows you to put additional coverages on there, which I'll go over. But that's a great question, right? Ultimately, you want to make sure that when you're thinking about protecting your family's income, which programs serve you the best, right? Because remember, temporary insurance, you really want to strategically think about what you need that for. And typically, people use that to cover things like a debt, like a mortgage, right? Because they know the mortgage is supposed to be paid within 30 years.
Yeah.
So if you get temporary life insurance within 30 years, God forbid you graduated, the family doesn't have to move out.
Okay, that's perfect. In permanent
Right?
life insurance, you leave more money for your family.
It depends because you can structure both. Typically, when it comes to temporary life insurance, the reason why people get temporary life insurance, one of the big reasons, is that it's more cost effective.
Okay.
Right? So when you look at pricing, typically temporary life insurance, you can get a lot more coverage, typically for less money. Obviously, depending on age, and I'll talk about, how to qualify for insurance today as well. But you want to think about using it as a strategy. How much do I need to cover a certain amount of time? This is typically when you want to think about the years of your life where you have the most responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? You got the most responsibility, and you may be the main breadwinner, or your wife is, or your significant other, and you want to make sure that if something happens to you guys, there's money around.
There's coverage. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what it is. And also, people use temporary life insurance when they may not be able to afford permanent life insurance. So some new programs as well in temporary life insurance allows you to convert temporary to permanent.
Okay.
So I've had clients that maybe their budget won't allow them a permanent program right now, but in 5 years when their income is better, they'll be able to convert it to permanent and keep the coverage for the rest of their life.
Awesome. Who can qualify to term life insurance?
Well, that's a good question. The qualification, I'll go over that in a little bit, but it's really, every company's different. I want you to know that. Every company that you apply to has their own what's called underwriting laws. And, there's a few things that they look into with that. I'll go over that with you just so you can have a general understanding. But for the most part, you should know that securing life insurance while your conditions are good, your health is good, you're younger, is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Not saying that you can't get any as you get older, but typically in the industry, the prices go up due to age, and health complications. So you just want to be mindful for that. Okay? So just think about that. So if you go to the next slide,
we have
when it comes to permanent
life
right? When
insurance.
it comes to permanent insurance, yeah, this one lasts your whole life, Urban.
Awesome.
You qualify for it. It doesn't expire. As long as you put money into it the right way, it covers your family's income for your entire life. But what a lot of people don't understand is that you can also add riders to this program, which, like I mentioned earlier, are additional coverages that take care of your health, right? So if your health declines, you can actually pull money from a permanent program the same way you could in a temporary program. But now, permanent insurance has two parts inside of it. One part is the insurance part. The second part is a savings part. And this is something that wealthy people, or the top 5% in the population, have been using for over 100 years. It's been around longer than the 401k. It's been around that long, right? So what they use this for is typically strategies, right? If you want to set up savings for your children, if you want to set up an emergency fund, if you want to supplement your retirement income and have an additional bucket of money, if you qualify for permanent life insurance and you fund it the right way, you can actually get access to these funds.
That's
right.
awesome.
It's almost like creating another savings system for you.
That's awesome.
Okay.
And
something that most people don't know. Yeah, go ahead, Urban.
Wealthy people knew about, got access to this information, but now we all have access to this information, and let's take advantage of it the right way and with the right consultation like you.
Yes, that's a great point, Urban. This is now new, information that's accessible. We're here to serve you and help you understand the inner workings of this and identify which program is good for you. But from a strategy standpoint, permanent life insurance can even be used to make money with other investments. So let's say you have money in your permanent life insurance and the stock market goes down.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows how to invest in the stock market, typically you want to buy the stocks when they're at a lower price. So you can take money from your permanent life insurance, purchase the stocks at a low price, and when that money comes back up, now you got two buckets of money working.
Yeah.
You see how strategy is important?
Yeah, that's a strategy, yeah.
That's a strategy. Let's say you walking in a neighborhood, Irvin, and you see a piece of property that you want to take a look at. You can actually pull money from your permanent life insurance, put money down or purchase that home, and not have to deal with the banks if you have enough money in there.
Yeah, when the opportunity comes like that, you just have to take them and be ready to take them.
That's right. That's right. If you have your own saving system, so you control, what you do with that money. Unlike a lot of other programs, there's a lot of restrictions. So if you go to the next slide, I want to talk to people about
what are some of the riders that you recommend for the permanent life insurance?
Good question. So obviously anything related to health. Why is that important? Because we never know when we're going to get sick.
Yeah.
We do know as we continue to live, we're going to get a little more senior, and maybe our bodies might slow up. Maybe you need somebody to take care of you. Maybe you need to make sure that somebody's next to you to help you out. So, long-term care riders, chronic terminal illness riders, those are vital, I believe, when it comes to adding more coverage to your, more protection to your permanent life insurance program. Because when you look at most people who retire, some of the biggest expenses they have is related to their health.
Yeah.
And if we don't plan for that before we get to that point, that's when the suffering starts.
Yeah.
Right? A loved one has to take care of you. They can't work no more. They're miserable. Even though they love you, they're like, man, this sucks, right? It's not cool. And you see that a lot because they wasn't planning. But imagine if they can cut a check from your life insurance so that they can pay for someone to come take care of you.
A nurse,
or
yeah.
they can stay home and take care of you.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's okay because there's income coming in. Nobody's stressed out. And that's why planning is so important.
That's amazing, yeah. And what happens if I don't use my life insurance, let's say if I have a 20-year contract and I don't use it?
Well, that's temporary, right? Because permanent lasts your entire life. Okay. Temporary, if you live past the 30-year contract and you did not convert it, then you don't have any coverage. That's why it's always good to get get reviews with whoever gave you your insurance. You can call us to do reviews for you, but we need to see if your life changed, right? People get married, people get divorced, children are in the house, children are not in the house. Your life insurance should give you the flexibility, or your strategy should give you the flexibility to be able to grow with you. And that's why planning is so important, because we go through phases in our life. The decisions that we made 10, 15 years ago may not be relevant today.
Yeah, there are different situations of our life, and that's why sometimes you need more insurance than others. How much insurance do I really need?
Great question. So if you go to the next slide, you speak to what we call the dime. The dime. method allows us to calculate how much insurance a person needs. Now, obviously, their budget's a whole nother story. But when you think about being a responsible person and not leaving your family with any bills behind, these are the major areas that you want to consider, right? Think about how much debt you currently have in the household. You add that to whatever your income is, but instead of just giving you 1 year of your income, like maybe your employer's life insurance coverage, you want to think about, do you want your family to be okay at least for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
Right? If you're a responsible adult and you're like, look, I want to make sure my family does better after me, I want my family to be financially set for at least 10 years. So whatever your annual income is, multiply that by 10. Okay, and if you're a homeowner and you have a balance on your mortgage, you obviously don't want your family to have to move out if you're not here. You put the mortgage balance on there as well. Okay, so now you're adding those up, and then the education piece for those parents out there. If you want to contribute to your children's education, and maybe you're not here, you will add that as well. And I'll let people know in today's times, you're looking at maybe $40,000 for a basic collegiate education per child. So you add those up, right? And then you also think about what you have in place. And this is why I mentioned some people have life insurance through their employer. I always say that should be icing on the cake, right? Icing on the cake, because let's say you leave your job and your employer doesn't let you take their life insurance with you, your family has nothing.
That's sad.
Right? So our goal as professionals in the financial industry is to help people set up more systems financially for themselves outside of work so you can have more control.
These are really good
Right?
exercise that people can do so they know where they at.
Exactly. There's a lot of people walking around today's times underinsured, not enough insurance. And after a few years they pass, the family's really struggling, right? We got to stop this. It has to stop with us. We really have to take ownership of how people are doing after we're gone, because if we love them while we're here, we should be able to love them when we're gone too.
So when I add those numbers up, I get the total. What does that total mean against the insurance that I need?
Correct. So that total tells you how much insurance you should have.
Okay.
Now, the next thing you want to consider, obviously, is your budget, right? But that's where strategy comes in again to play, because you can use a percentage of temporary coverage. Remember, I told you temporary coverage, you can get more insurance for less costs, and permanent. So maybe a mix might be a good solution for you, right? You just never know. But it's definitely important for every family to do this exercise among themselves, because like I always told you, Irvin, everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
Everybody's situation is different.
Yeah, maybe they're spending more than they have to, and they don't know their situation as it is right now. They should consider saving up or for the future.
Correct. When you mention spending too much, a lot of people are walking around with insurance programs that might not be the newest programs, right? And maybe they can qualify for an upgrade.
Yeah.
They can even get more insurance for the price that they're paying, or they could probably get the same amount of coverage for less costs, which is why we do something called life insurance audits for our clients. We look at what you currently have in place, we look at what the industry has to offer, and then we come back to you with some recommendations. And this is something that is helping a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's helping a lot of people.
It's really hard to go down this road alone and without the knowledge, the right knowledge.
Yes, because like everything, if you don't know the language, then you're not talking the right language, right? If you don't know the language, you're going to get confused. So that's why it's always important to have a professional that actually wants your family to do well, help you, guide you through these industries, And I'm proud to say that I'm in this industry helping people that, from all walks of life, and it's been a blessing.
If you don't know the language, life takes advantage of you. So let's take advantage of life insurance. Let's say the next slide, Lamont.
Yeah, so the next slide speaks to the history of life insurance, and this is what I mentioned earlier, where the life insurance industry has evolved.
Okay.
So it started out, if you go from the left, right, where it says whole life, that was the first type of life insurance ever created.
It costs a
lot. And if you see the dollar signs, it's $3 there.
Yeah.
Typically, whole life is one of the more expensive types of life insurance.
Oh my God.
Depending on the company. Okay? And then the savings part to it, because permanent insurance allows you to save money, the savings part gives you anywhere from 2 to 3% interest on your money. Now, I know that might be confusing, but think about when you put your money in a bank, how much interest do you get?
Like 6%, maybe less.
I want to go to your bank. If you look at the banks today, you get less than 1%.
Less
right?
than 1%?
So, yeah, most banks are giving you less than 1% today. You can look that up. So we want to think about where you have your money growing.
Yeah.
Because what happens every year? The cost of living goes up. Right? So it costs you more money to do the same things. So if you have your money saving somewhere that is not outpacing the cost of living, you're going to run out of money, right? You're not going to have enough money to survive. So you want to keep that in mind when you're thinking about, where am I saving my money?
Okay.
which is very important. So if you do have a bank account, Irvin, I suggest going on the website or calling them. And if you have a savings account, ask them, how much interest am I getting? Because if your interest is not outpacing the cost of living, then that money is not working hard enough for you in that account.
It's not worthy.
It's not working hard enough.
Because instead of saving, I'm losing. Because at the end, everything will cost much than that I'm saving.
Exactly. Cost of living right now is about 8%. So if our money is not earning more than 8% interest, you're gonna need more money to do basic things, and that's rough. And that's why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah.
So whole life insurance, depending on the company, you could get 2 to 3% interest in your account, right? You could take out money from the program. Typically, that's about 3 to 7%, depending on the company. Now, like I told you before, this was a little bit too expensive for people. So the industry recognized that. Life insurance industry said, okay, let's create term insurance, temporary coverage, right? It's cost effective. You can't borrow money from it, right? And it runs out after the contract is over. So typically the contracts, depending on the companies, 10, 20, 30-year contracts. Okay? But remember, the new models of term life insurance let you take money from the insurance if you get sick.
Just with the showing that we really need the money for our healthy, for our health.
Correct. You have to provide documentation for that.
Okay.
But the public was like, man, we want permanent coverage, right? Because if I live a day after 30 years, I don't got no coverage. I put all this money in this program, and I got nothing to show for it. I'm still alive, and now my family got no life insurance, right? That's what the public says.
Yeah.
And I get it all the time, right? So
he was like, I thought I was gonna die earlier.
Yeah, man. They're like, what do you mean? I put all this money in this program for 30 years. I don't got nothing now because I'm alive still. So the life insurance industry said, okay, let's come up with another permanent program. And that's where Universal Life came in. Universal Life is the first. It's a permanent program, cost effective, right? So it's usually a little less expensive than whole life. That's your entire life. But now, because it's the first version of permanent protection that was cost effective, the interest rate is very low. You see the interest rate there?
Yeah, it's very low.
1 to 2%. Like I said, it'll take you forever to double your money in a 1% account.
Yeah.
It'll take you forever to double your money in a 1% account. Loan provision, also 2 to 3% to borrow from the program. So the public was like, look, man, this is good because we can afford it and it lasts our whole life, but we can't make no money inside of this thing. The cost of living is way higher than 2%.
Yeah. Right?
So what did the industry do? It said, all right, let's come up with another version. And that's when it made variable universal life. Variable universal life is a permanent life insurance program. And it's tied to the stock market.
Okay, I like
so
that.
So everybody knows the stock market. One day you do great.
One day
next day maybe not. Yeah, you just never know.
Yeah.
Right? So people were making money, but people were also losing money. And then the loan you could borrow from the program 2 to 3%. Right? So people were like, okay, at least we got something different where we can make some money. But a lot of people were like, man, I don't want to lose any money. Like, I never met a human being yet, Irvin, that says I love losing money. I haven't met one in my life. Nobody, right? Yet so many of us have money in places where we lose money. I don't understand this, right? So the insurance industry, life insurance industry, because people didn't want to lose money, but they wanted to make money, they created a program called Index Universal Life.
That's where we at right now.
Exactly. This is one of the more modern permanent coverages out. It's cost effective, and the public is protected from the market going down. You see where it says floor there?
Yeah.
That floor. So while most people are losing money in the stock market, people who qualify for this program, depending on the company, their money stays the same. And then what happens is they allow you to go up to a certain point, which is called the cap. So you can make money up to a certain point. Depending on the company, that could be anywhere from 10 to 25%.
That's
right?
amazing.
It
Imagine
is,
getting
right? But
10,
this is
10 to
how it
25%
evolved.
interest rate. That's a lot.
That's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
Now your money's working as hard as you're working, and that's what financial planning is about. It's yes, we many of us have to earn, right? We have to go earn, but where we have our money working for us, is it really working?
Yeah.
Is it really working? Is it protected, right? So Index Universal Life, they even upgraded the way you can borrow from the program, where if you wait for after 10 years to borrow money from the policy, the companies give you a credit.
Okay.
Instead of them charging you, they give you a credit. And that can make your interest on the loan cents on the dollar.
Jeez.
Depending on the company.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to take
right?
all these aspects, because if we save up $1 million, let's say, it's not going to be $1 million at the end of the 30 years. Probably be less, like, because of the cost of living, you know?
Correct. The cost of living is one of the biggest things that eats away at our savings. And that's why it's very important to pay attention to the interest that you're gaining in your savings, because if it's not outpacing the cost of living, those dollars are losing value. And that's a challenge. And you see that a lot of people now, when they're in retirement, they have to go back to work, you know, and you know, it's because the cost of living is so high.
Yeah.
They can't afford it on a fixed income. Whereas if many of us who still have the opportunity to make a change started putting our money in better places, we will have a better result in the end.
Yeah. So how do I know which type of insurance is for me, or from all of this, and how do I know if I qualify for the one that I want?
Well, it all comes back to strategy, right? And identifying what your goals are for your family, right? Once you calculate your insurable need, now you got to think about how much you can afford.
Okay.
Right, and then you want to look at these programs, because some offer more flexibility than the others, right? So you got to think about what you enjoy. Do you want something flexible? Do you want something that lasts your entire life? Do you just want to make sure that you have a lot of money for a certain amount of time? God forbid you passed away.
Okay.
Right. These are questions that with a proper financial professional will help you. You know, we'll ask you these questions. We'll help you think about it. You know, you can think about these things, and now you have a plan that works for you.
Okay.
And
awesome.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the plan is perfect. That's why every year we do annual reviews with our clients.
Because it keeps changing.
Because like life, you might have to change the plan. Look, this was good for last year, but maybe not this year.
You making more money,
and that's the blessing.
To this life insurance. Okay.
Yeah, you just figure it out. You know, you got to figure out the situation first. That's why I never tell people this is better than that. If it's not doing what it's supposed to do to help your family win, then it's not the program.
It's not the right one. Yeah. Okay.
It's not the right one, right? And that's why whatever you have in place, you should get an evaluation of that, because you may be paying for things or putting money away in programs that might not benefit what you want.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important, because you're different from me. You know, people have different goals. Everybody can't continue to do the same thing and expect different results.
Awesome. So what are the things to look at when it comes to qualifying for life insurance?
So there are a few qualifiers, right? And it depends on the companies, but like the main ones are listed here, right? Your health, your age, your driving record, your criminal background, right? And your financial suitability, right? Can you afford these programs? All the companies are going to look at those standard criteria. Your best bet when you're applying is to be very transparent with the person who's helping you, right? I always tell my clients from the beginning, tell me everything, because it's our job now to pair you with the right company that will take an application from you.
Yeah.
Okay, every company's different. So if for some reason you didn't get approved for one company, you might want to look into another because all the companies are competing for business, and they have different criteria to get approved.
Do people who pay purchase a life insurance when they're young, they get more benefits at the end?
Well, it depends on what, if you're talking about permanent coverage or temporary coverage.
Permanent.
On the permanent side, purchasing it at a younger age is one of the best things you could possibly do, in my opinion. Why? Because God forbid that young person got sick when they get older, they may not be able to qualify for insurance when they get older, right? So I always suggest all the parents take out programs for your children while their health is still good. That way, they'll have coverage for their entire life, and then your grandchildren and their children are okay financially if something happens to your children.
Yeah.
Right? Not to mention, if you're using it to save, Urban, if you're using it to save, you're giving the money a longer time to work.
Okay.
Right? So the longer time that interest has to work in your favor, that's good.
Oh, awesome.
That's good. Think about if your child is young today and 20 years from now they have a significant amount of money that they can access. Not to mention any money saved in life insurance, Irving, any money saved in life insurance, if you take it out the right way, you can avoid taxation.
That's amazing.
Remember, I always tell you, planning for taxes, right? Plan for them. Don't avoid them.
Always be aware of Uncle Sam.
That's right. He's always around, but the rules are very straightforward. Yeah. Life insurance falls under a certain tax code, permanent life insurance. Wealthy people understand this. That's why they have billions of dollars in these programs. I want everybody who's not wealthy yet to understand that you can possibly start a program like this if you qualify.
Awesome. We just have to learn how to play the game. Let's go with the questions. That we have some questions, Lamont.
Yes, please.
The very first one is about taxes. Are life insurance taxable?
Life insurance is not taxable if you access the money the right way.
Okay.
So there's two ways to access money: withdrawals and loans. Loans in any industry, you never pay taxes on a loan. Okay. The great thing about life insurance is that typically it's not obligatory for you to pay the loan back. So you have to understand these strategies when you're thinking about using life insurance as a financial tool, not just something that you leave behind to your loved ones. And that's why sitting down with a professional can help you get a better understanding of that. But it's all about how you pull the money from it that you can avoid taxation.
Awesome. The next one is, on term life insurance, are death benefits taxed?
No.
Okay.
No, so the death benefit is never taxed in life insurance.
On the same death benefit, can I choose more than one beneficiary?
Yes, beneficiaries, you can choose more than one, and you should always be looking at these, right? So I've witnessed people put beneficiaries on the document, and 20 years later, they don't even get along with that person, right? And the families is fighting, so you should always be looking to assess whether the beneficiaries are up to date. You can always change them in the program as well.
Here's another one. This is very, how can I lower the cost of my life insurance?
That's a great question. For that, an analysis will have to be done.
Yeah.
So I believe you see my phone number on the bottom of your screen. Feel free to reach out. We'll do a complimentary analysis because you were here today with our group, and we'll show you what the industry has. We can't really tell you that until we take a look at your situation.
Yeah, because like we mentioned, all the life, all cases are different, and no one needs always the same insurance.
Correct. We'll see. We'll do our best to see what's out there. Obviously we all want to do better financially. So if there's a solution out there, we'll do our best to bring it to you.
don't I need don't if I already have a life insurance with my work, do I really need another one?
Well, it depends. How do you want your family to be when you leave, right? Typically, your employer gives you maybe 1 to 2 years of your salary. Is that going to be enough for your family or your loved ones to live, right?
Yeah.
So you really got to look at what your goals are. It may be enough if that's what you believe in, but I know for a fact that I've seen clients of mine work 30 years with an employer, get laid off. Now they got to go and get life insurance 30 years older.
Oh my God.
And the price might be too high. So, it's really a self-assessment that has to be done, whether or not you believe your family could use more money or not.
Perfect. Those were all the questions, Lamont. Let's go with your social media. Where can we find you?
Yes, well, listen, you can follow me. I'm on all major social media platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even YouTube. My phone number is at the bottom of the screen. Let's keep in touch. Like I always tell you, Erwin, it's really about doing right by the people and showing them that they can get from where they at to where they want to be. Historically, in my profession, people charge thousands of dollars for this information, but because of great companies like Hola Doctor, we're bringing it to the masses, complimentary. Anybody who was viewing this workshop today, you qualify for a complimentary analysis. We'll sit with you and your family, look at your financials in relation to where you want to be, and we'll bring in some recommendations with a solid plan. So I strongly suggest you look into that and take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, make sure you follow Lamont on all the social media and try to reach him. If you have any question, he will help you. 347-399-6015. That's right, Lamont?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Any last advice you want to give for the people who don't have insurance, the people who have insurance but they don't feel comfortable with it, or the people that want to move to a term life insurance, how to do it?
Yeah, listen, don't be afraid, right? Ultimately, your life continues to evolve. Everybody's life evolves. We might have something from years ago, but is it still the best thing out there? You won't find out until you get an assessment. And also, there's also companies that are now catering to, immigrants, right, in different countries and different documentations. I was able to get a family that had not too many documents, here, and now they got coverage and their children got coverage. Like, the companies are really understanding that the public needs more. So there's a lot of different solutions based on the different companies. I strongly suggest you look into this, because if every generation left money behind, the world will look different.
Yeah.
Think about how many beautiful people we know have so many creative ideas, have so much to offer the world, but they're stuck, grinding for money because they have to survive. Yeah. They're in survival mode. Survival mode, you can't be creative in survival mode, right? Think about if people have money so they can be creative and collaborate and do things they enjoy. And that's what life insurance really is about. It's giving your family a head start, or at least replacing the money that you were bringing in for years to come.
Yeah, it's really, some of us are born with debt, and it's really the struggle of thinking of how to make more money instead of how to be creative to achieve better things.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. If I ask everybody here, do you know your great grandparents? They'd probably be like, no. But if they left you $1 million, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was my great grandfather Irvin. He thought about me before I was even here.
I have a poster of him on my wall.
Exactly. And in some communities, they make a T-shirt or get a tattoo of them. So, it's a big deal, man. I want everybody here to be that person that the family remembers. Don't be the person that the family remembers, leaving them with a hardship. That's not being responsible as an adult.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lamont, and thank to all the viewers that came to the live stream. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, on YouTube as well. Subscribe, because we're updating all the time. We are giving a lot of content to you. all day about health, about financial health, about how to make your kids to go to college. All those kinds of information that are helpful, we'll give him here. Thank you, Lamont, again, and thank you to all the viewers, and see you the next time.
Thank you, Irvin. Take care, everyone. Have a blessed one.
Take care.